Hello, today we're going to clone computers across the local area network. Here's how we get started. We'll boot this machine with a BART PE CD, create a clone of the hard drive, send the resulting image file to a shared folder on the network. Then we can boot up these other machines and create clones by using that image file to overwrite the hard drive. That creates perfect clones of the original computer. You can use this technique to clone multiple machines. All of the clones will be exact duplicates of this original. Step 1, I need to create a shared folder on a machine that's available on the local area network. I have a machine here with a hard drive with about 100 gigabytes of space, and you will need plenty of space to store cloned images. I'll create a shared folder and I will call it Images. There, and I'm going to share this and set permissions so that we are able to write to that folder. There's the permissions button, and right now the permissions only allow reading the folder. We need to be able to write to it. I'll set those permissions and then just click OK. And there's one more OK. Now I'll check to see if I can see that folder. I'll get on another machine and I'm going to check the network, see if I can find the folder. There's my domain. Here's the machine it's on, called lab-01. There's the shared folder. And there's nothing inside of it. I'm going to check to see if we can write to it by dragging a picture over here. There, the picture is in there, so I know we can write to that folder. In step 2, we're going to send the disk image to the shared folder. You've got to insert your BART PE CD now, and we're going to restart the computer and boot it up to the BART PE CD. You've got to get into the BIOS to get your boot menu set to start from the CD. Here mine is set at floppy. I'll switch it to CD-ROM, and then we'll be ready to boot the CD up. When the BART PE CD boots up, it asks if we want to start network support. If for some reason you don't get that menu, you can find it at Go, System, Network, and then PE Network Configurator, and that'll take you to the menu to start the network support. And we'll say yes, and here I'm going to accept the DHCP setting, say OK. Now it's installing my network adapter, installing the components and the NetBIOS helper, and we've got a connection to the network. If for any reason you need to change the settings manually, you can do that here where it says IP addresses. You can change that and set your own IP address. And then down here you can configure your DNS and your WINS server if need be. And then at the bottom we've got network identification. It gives the computer a name and assigns it the work group. I can leave that at the default, and now we'll map a network drive to that shared folder that we set up earlier. It's drive G, asks you for a network path, a username and password, and then there's a map drive button. And we'll go ahead and fill in the network path and the information quickly here. When you map the drive, it'll tell you if you've succeeded. Down at the bottom it says I've mapped drive G to lab-01 and the images folder. So we're good to go there, and we'll exit that menu. Now we're ready to start imaging the disk and send it as a file to the shared folder. We start with Go, Programs, and Self-Image Disk Imager, and that'll start us going. Our first choice is to set the input, which will be a drive, and I'm going to choose my C partition, which is my operating system of this drive. And as a destination, the output will be as a file to that shared folder I made on lab-01, and I'll name it. It's a Dell Optiplex 620, and I will save. And I'll just double check the input is the hard drive partition C and the output is a file to the shared folder, and we'll start. The file transfer speed will be somewhat dependent on network conditions and whether you chose to compress the file as it goes across to the shared folder. I didn't choose to compress it, and I'm getting about 9, 10, 11, 12 megabytes a second. I'm expecting this 20 gig drive to go across in about 12 to 15 minutes. Alright, the transfer's finished, and I didn't compress the image, so I'm looking for about a 20 gig file in the output location folder. I'm going to go check right now and see if it's there. There it is, my Dell Optiplex image on images on Lab 01, Lab 01, and it's about a 20 gig file, so we've been successful transferring the image. Third and final step, we'll create some clones from that disk image we put on that shared folder. We need to insert our BART PE CD on the machine we plan to clone, and we'll restart that computer and boot to the BART PE CD. If we need to get into the BIOS, we'll do that and check that the machine is going to start from the CD. When BART starts, you'll select yes to start network support. Start the disk imaging program. And the big difference here is that the input is now the file that's on the shared folder. The Dell Optiplex 620 image I have here. And the output is now a drive, or you could select a partition. I'm going to overwrite partition C and restore the operating system. You press start, and it will begin pulling the image across the network onto this hard drive, creating a perfect clone of our original computer. And that concludes our How to Clone Across the Network video.